Hello and welcome to a special presentation on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. Very happy to have a returning guest here to talk about this war of a Whitney Stakes through the lens of Race Lens. Back with us from the Inside Track podcast, Ben Kudla. Ben, how are things?
Oh, they're great. They're great. I just love this Whitney weekend. I mean, literally one of the greatest Saturdays of racing. 4 grade ones, 5 graded stakes, and then also at Del Mar, the Clement El Hirsch as well. I mean, just epic day. I'm so excited for tomorrow. But thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this Whitney.
Definitely. We're going to be getting to that. I do want to talk to folks about Race Lens, sponsors of this video. I know we've been talking a lot on the channel about really smart ways to win your way into the NHC. We've talked at length about the LRF Cares Charity Challenge. We're going to have a whole separate video covering that Del Mar card and touching on that. But you guys at Race Lens have another fantastic way to punch your ticket to the fun horse player party out in Las Vegas. Tell us about that for a minute to kick things off.
That's right. Well, last year was our inaugural year doing this, called the Race to NHC. We partnered with the NTRA to put this together. And it has just such a great outcome of support. And a lot of people at NHC were coming up to our booth and saying, oh, we love that Race to NHC. So we decided to do it again and do it even longer. So every single Saturday on horseplayers.com, there's a free contest for Race Lens subscribers. And it sends 2 people. The top 2 finishers in each one of those contests on these Saturdays will make it to the Race Lens Final 50 in February. The top 2 finishers in that contest will earn a seat to NHC 2026 plus a travel voucher and a 4-night stay at Horseshoe Casino. So it's just a great way to get people involved and to win a free seat for Race Lens subscribers.
Yeah, that's great. What a nice perk of being a Race Lens subscriber. In addition to all the things we talk about, you can use it as a regular past performance tool. You can use it to do deep dives and research. We're going to have another Race Lens sponsored show next week, taking a look at the Del Mar meet and some of the angles that have been profitable there. We'll have power user Matt Vagvolgi for that one. And also just encourage folks to go to the Equibase site, navigate over to Race Lens. There's always different specials coming up around racing's biggest events, whether it's the Triple Crown or the summer meets or the Breeders' Cup. So keep an eye out there. Terrific product to get a look at, and one that's just becoming more and more important to the work that I do, handicapping behind the scenes. Especially, it works great as a supplement if you're somebody who uses another PP product already, but I love the deep dives and the research that you can do with it. We'll be talking about some of the types of angles you can find throughout the course of this show. Ben, let's dive into this race, and we won't keep the people waiting. We're going to go right to the top picks here. This is a loaded race. I have my horse-by-horse analysis over at theraces.com if folks want to dive into the particulars of every horse. But let's start with who we really think is going to win, and then talk about who the main dangers might be. Kick us off, my friend.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I'm going to start off by saying if Mindframe was going to run this race, it would completely change my answer to this. However, it's been kind of, yes, I think it's just uber talented horse. Yeah. But
if folks haven't seen, he will not be participating, as had been rumored. That is now official. No Mindframe in here. So who do you land on in his absence?
Well, it wasn't my original choice, but I landed on the 2023 Whitney Stakes winner, White Abario, for Saffie Joseph Jr. with Irad Ortiz getting the mount. That 2023 Whitney seems like forever ago, but that was actually only 9 starts back for him. You know, and he had a similar progression. He lost the Met Mile like he did this year prior to winning the Whitney, and then goes on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic after the Whitney that year. And after that Breeders' Cup Classic in 2023, shipped overseas to run that Saudi Cup, finishing 10th, came back to the States to run that Met Mile, finished 5th, went back to the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn, who he started his career with. Then he won the Classic under Dutro. But anyway, takes a 5-month layoff after that, comes back in November last year to absolutely dominate an allowance optional claimer at Gulfstream by 10.5 lengths. I know that race was kind of written for him, but it was a really big start, you know, to come back from that and to really dominate. He runs a second in that Grade 3 Mr. Prospector next time out, and then a month later, Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup. What a performance. Drawn clear by 6 1/4 lengths at Gulfstream there. And obviously that was overlocked. We saw the Santa Anita handicap was just unreal. Takes a 2-month layoff to again dominate, winning that grade 3 Ghost Sapper by 5.5 lengths or 5.25 last time out in early June. Finishes 4th in that grade 1 Met Mile to Raging Torrent, Fierceness, and Just a Touch. That was a sloppy track and way wide, not his exact distance. I think he's going to follow this Met Mile into the Whitney pattern. Back at this preferred 1.8 distance. His last 2 starts going this distance. He won the grade 1 Whitney and grade 1 Pegasus World Cup by combined 12.5 lengths and 4-1. You know what? I love it. So I'm gonna go with White Abarrio on top.
I can see it. You can see you cherry pick those best races. It's as good a form as anybody in the race. I guess for me, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here because I do think you can let those races out of the Wilson chute at Saratoga sometimes live in isolation. But I am just a little bit worried that we've seen the best from White Abarrio and we might not have seen the best from Fierceness, whose race I'm also sort of discount. I'm not too worried about the Met Mile run for either of them. But as I run this race in my head, especially now without Mind Frame in it, I just think Fierceness is going to be able to get the run of the race. Joe Migliori on the main Players podcast, we did point out the possibility for team tactics and him maybe being messed with by the rabbit in the stall. One into him, the other Chad Brown trainee, in addition to his best chance, Sierra Leone. But I still think he's going to be able to work out a brilliant trip under Johnny V. And I think his brilliance and his still, to me, being on I'm not sure what kind of trajectory White Abarrio's on at this point. I don't know, but I'm pretty darn sure Fierceness is on that upward trajectory. I'm going to row in with him. Is he one of the other two in your reckoning of the race, or are you against Fierceness?
He is. He's my second pick. And I think obviously I'm going to box them, White Abarrio and Fierceness. I think those are your top 2. I do like Sierra Leone, uber talented horse, 11 for 11 in the money. I mean, he's just always there and running in all grade 1, grade 2 races in 10 of his 11 starts. But I mean, what is he? 0 for 3 at Saratoga, and just 2 for 6 of this distance. It's kind of went with Fierceness. I mean, horses for courses, 3 wins and a second from 4 starts at Saratoga, 2 for 2 at this distance. And I mean, Johnny V and Todd Pletcher, I mean, they're just the kings of greatest stakes racing since the early 2000s at Saratoga. So now Fierceness, I mean, and that performance in the Ali Sheba breaking the track record. I mean, geez, what a nice horse. And really coming into his own, like you said. I mean, he is just getting better and better and better.
He will be favored, and White Abarrio will be a price. So, I mean, a little bit more of a price anyway. So, I definitely see where you're going. As I run it in my head, I keep seeing Fierceness win. The scenario where I see Fierceness not win is he joins the party too early. They just go too fast. And that's the exact same situation that's going to lead to the favorable setup for Sierra Leone. I will have a backup on him. I think it's not his Saratoga record is more that I just don't think he's gotten the right setup at Saratoga. I think there's a world in which he could get it today, and I think it's the exact scenario that works against Fierceness. So I think they're really interesting partners in horizontal races because it's either going to set up, I think it's, 80% of the time it's going to set up for Fierceness and 20% of the time it's going to set up for Sierra Leone. Those are the two for me. Is Sierra the third horse for you, or did you have anybody else you wanted to bring in here?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Sierra Leone was obviously, I'm definitely going to run in the money, I think. For sure. I mean,
such a great pace.
11 for 11. Yeah, at least late pace. But, it's interesting. Chad Brown, his entire career, only has 4 starts ever in the Whitney, and then you look at the Diana, he has 4 every single year, So that's he never has a Whitney run. But, I mean, obviously, Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt at graded stakes are just nuts. Where are they for the past 3 years are winning at 36% graded stakes races at the Spa.
Insane.
16 wins from 45 starts. So you have to add them in just based off those numbers alone. And it's interesting. You have the 2-year-old champion versus a 3-year-old champion, and they're both best Equibase speed figures for 117. And for White Abarrio, maybe it was at his peak, but he did earn a 122 in last year's Whitney. And I did go through, since 1991, I put this on an Excel spreadsheet of the winning Equibase speed figures. But the average winning Equibase speed figure for the Whitney Stakes is a 121.
Amazing.
And so White Abarrio is the only one who's gotten that. So
yeah, that's interesting. I get it. I mean, I definitely get it. He makes a lot of sense at the price he'll be. If I can construct tickets cleverly and have one backup line with him, he'd be the other one that I can really see the story on. I'm going to mainly stick with those other two. Ben citing some stats there, the kind of things that are at your fingertips when you're a Race Lens user. We encourage you to go over to equibase.com, navigate to Race Lens, see what's available, get involved, and maybe join that race to the NHC as well. Ben, one more question before I let you get out of here. Where can folks find more from you and more information about how to use Race Lens?
Absolutely. Well, so I'm the host of the Inside Track podcast, Equibase's weekly handicapping podcast that we do every single Thursday. Pete, you've been on a few times. You're always such a wonderful guest with all your insights. And we've had some interviews and things like that. It's just a fun show, a half hour going through our top 3 selections for some big top plays. But you can find that on youtube.com/Equibase or Equibase.com/podcast. And for Race Lens, there's a special Race Lens tab on Equibase.com. You always get a free Race Lens Race of the Day to try it out, along with different tutorial videos as well. And we do have, today is the last day to get this. If you're not already a Race Lens subscriber, want to join this Race to NHC contest, today at midnight is the last night to get a annual subscription to Race Lens for just $699, normally $999, with code RLA699S at checkout. So
lots of great ways to get involved. You reminded me we should wrap this show so we can get it posted so people have a chance to take advantage of that promo. Ben, we'll check you out on the Inside Track and be seeing you very soon. In the meantime, check out Race Lens and make sure you subscribe to the In the Money Media channel